Hello, it's Chris Hynes from Wealthi. I hope you're doing well. Today I just wanted to run through the two investment opportunities that we're working on in Liverpool at the moment. You may have watched my video earlier in the week where I was talking about the Liverpool area, discussed a number of exciting projects that are happening in the Liverpool region, most notable being the Western Sydney International Airport. We're also seeing a lot of investment in the city centre as well. We've got the Liverpool Innovation Precinct, and that's seeing the redevelopment of Liverpool Hospital. It's about $740 million redevelopment. So there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot happening. The population numbers and the projections for Liverpool and the outer rings of Liverpool are also showing some very promising signs as well. Vacancy rates are extremely low as well. So there's a number of, you could say, combining factors that are really pushing us towards this Liverpool investment. We see it as a fantastic opportunity. So in today's video, we're going to run through both of those opportunities. If you have any questions come the end of this video, please feel free to reach out to myself or any of the team members, and we're all more than happy to have a chat to you about these projects. So to get started, we will run through the projects themselves. Firstly, actually, we've got the market update. So market update, the value of Australian property market hit an astonishing $9.1 trillion in October. It's the result of skyrocketing house prices and government-supported construction boom, which saw property prices increase by 20.9% across Australia's capital cities in the past year, the highest annual appreciation since 1989. The year actually finished slightly higher than that. It finished up around that 22.8%. As a whole, as a nation, the strongest performing cities were Sydney, Brisbane and Adelaide. They saw some extremely strong growth last year, but as a whole, the Australian property market has performed extremely well over the past 12 months. As I'm sure many of you are aware, we've seen, as the report that came out this morning from the ABS, it showed that the home lending world is skyrocketing again. It's bouncing back. The number of commitments from a home loan perspective for both investors and owner-occupiers has skyrocketed as well, seeing some very strong numbers come out of that report. So as a whole, it looks like we are poised for a very strong year ahead. I don't think it's going to be as strong as the past 12 months. I think we're going to see some form of slowdown. Obviously, we've got the ongoing coronavirus and the consistent strains that are coming out at the moment. We've got the Omicron that we have to deal with, and that's having a bit of a part to play on the markets, providing that uncertainty in a sense as well. So that's one thing we've got to keep in mind, as it's not helping with the population growth. But in saying that, we've performed extremely well over the past 12 months. So I don't think it'll have too much of a part to play. Now, many of you probably already know who Wealthi are. For those who are new to the channel and are listening to this video for the first time and don't know who Wealthi are a property investment company that believe anyone can be wealthy. We want to make property investing as easy as possible for each and every one of you who is listening to this video. We want to simplify the process, essentially hold your hand and teach you along the way as well. We want to provide you with a service that is going to offer you value. We're going to match your wealth goals, where you want to be with your investment journey, what you want to achieve with your portfolio, where your aspirations are, and we'll match you with the best market opportunities. The best thing about it as well is that we're a zero brokerage service to our clients. We aren't paid by you, so you don't have to worry about any of that as well. In terms of the team, we've advised on over $1 billion worth of real estate across Australia. We have Wealthi Academy, which is set up to really help new investors learn about real estate, learn about things that you should be wary of when you are considering property investment from both a tax perspective. We are not financial advisors or tax advisors, but we can provide you some form of guidance and recommendations around those topics, but really helping educate some of those new investors with the real estate world and the property market and how it operates. We have the Wealthi podcast. So we have 3 shows on the Wealthi podcast. We got the Wealthi Australia show, which is you could say the headline show. Then we have Wealthi Espanol, and then the Wealthi Research podcast, and then Wealthi Expats, and that's our UK office, which is helping expats invest around the world. We also have a dedicated research team, which I'm a part of, and we help, you could say, put together the collateral and do the research around why it stacks up as a good investment opportunity. Now, project summary will run over quickly. So this image that you can see on the right-hand side of your screen is the Liverpool townhouses. So this is the first one that we are going to run through. Liverpool townhouses, there's 8 in total within the complex. 2 are remaining as it stands. Both of the 2 townhouses that are currently available are both 3-bedroom townhouses. The developer is Australasian Property Group. We'll run through them in a bit more detail later on. Properties that are available are the 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath and 1 car. In terms of price point for those, they're at £749,000, and expected rental, you're looking at about £600 to £650 per week for these townhouses. Estimated completion is March 2022. As you can see by the image on my right, or on the right of the screen, they're extremely close to completion. So March 22 is when we are forecasting completion for these ones. Really great opportunity, fantastic location within 1 kilometre to the CBD, accessible to both your Westfield and city centre for your amenity and retail. You've got a train line as well about 1 kilometre away, so fantastic opportunity in a city, you could say, within Liverpool, and I think it stacks up to make a very good investment. We'll run through the cash flow later on into this video, but that is the Liverpool townhouses. Then we have the Casula townhouses. So this is one of the images on the right hand side. There's 6 townhouses in total within the complex. 1 is remaining at this present time. It is a 3-bedroom townhouse, same developer, Australasian Property Group. In terms of price point for this one, it's the exact same price point, $749,000. Looking at a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom and 2 cars. And in terms of expected rental, you're looking at $550 to $600 for these ones. Completion is expected Q2, Q3 of 2022, so slightly later than the Liverpool townhouses, but still not that far away. Later on into this year, you'll have your completed townhouse. Now, this will run through the Liverpool overview very briefly. So Liverpool's located 35 kilometres from Sydney CBD and is classed as one of the oldest cities in Australia, settlement dating back to 1810. The area has undergone substantial investment with the development of Western Sydney International Airport and the Western Sydney Aerotropolis, which will both contribute to 200,000 jobs in the Western Parkland city, set to become a highly skilled job hub across aerospace, defence, manufacturing, healthcare, freight, logistics and agriculture, education and research industry. So those 2 projects that I mentioned there, the Western Sydney International Airport and the Western Sydney Aerotropolis, are massive master plan. It is a massive master planned project. As you'll see later on in this video, there's a lot happening in that ring of Liverpool. It's a very exciting project. It's going to connect Liverpool internationally. It will kind of solidify, you could say, Liverpool's position within Sydney, creating that third. It is, I suppose, regarded as that third city in Sydney as it stands, but this is really going to solidify its position. I think the airport's going to add substantial value. The Aerotropolis as well is a substantial or a massive project that's underway as well. That's going to create about 200,000 jobs. It's going to consist of mixed use development, residential, commercial, industrial, logistical hub. So that's a very exciting project to look forward to. I think it's going to reap reward for Liverpool. It's going to help boost their population numbers up as well. It'll drive rental up because people will want to live closer to the Liverpool city. So I think there's a lot to look forward to there. Of course, it'll also have an effect on property prices. Now, on the right-hand side of my screen, you can see a little snapshot which has been taken from the Liverpool Innovation presentation. It is linked on the bottom right. I will leave this this presentation link in the description as well. But as you can see, Liverpool's local economy is worth $9.2 billion. It accounts for 1.8% of New South Wales's economy, and over 76,000 people have been employed since 2015. Now, in terms of the local economy, Liverpool has already being the centre of economic activity. As it stands, Liverpool's LGA is a major commercial centre in New South Wales. As we touched on, the local economy stands at $9.2 billion, equating to 1.8% of New South Wales' economy, and employed over 76,000 people since 2015. Since the 2007 financial crisis, the Liverpool LGA has grown faster than the rest of Sydney and broader New South Wales. Liverpool is also one of the fastest growing regions in Sydney, with population expected to double to more than 320,000 over the next 20 years. So some very, very positive signs there as a whole. Now, Casula overview, just a quick snapshot of Casula. I guess it's a very similar story to Liverpool, given that you're in the same region. It's still classified as Liverpool City Council. This is the first suburb that sits immediately to the south of Liverpool, so you border onto the Liverpool City suburb, you could say. Located, very similar story, located 34 kilometres to the southwest of Sydney CBD. You're in the local government of City of Liverpool. You've got Casula railway station is on the Inner West and Lippington and Cumberland lines of the Sydney Trains network. Frequent train systems and bus services link Casula to major commercial and retail centres of Liverpool and Liverpool Station. Casula is the first suburb, as I mentioned, to the south of Liverpool itself. Got the train line. Casula is bordered on the north and west by the M5 motorway, with continuous freeway standing highway to central Sydney and North Shore. Hume Highway cuts through the centre of Casula. So the connectivity is there. It's easily accessible to get into Sydney CBD, or connect you to the outer rings of Sydney as well. But a very similar story in terms of the figures from a population standpoint, and reaping the rewards of all the development that's happening in Liverpool at the moment. Now, these are the population growth numbers for Liverpool. We'll run through Liverpool first, and we've got the Casula statistics as well. So, number of dwellings in Liverpool city centre is forecast to grow from 66,363 people in 2016 to 131,771 in 2041. With the average household size falling from 3.26 to 3.03 by 2041. Now, I mentioned in my video that I released earlier in the week a little bit around those figures around the falling average household size. Now, these figures were taken from March 2019, and in 2019, or March 2019, the Western Sydney Airport plans had not been approved. The Aerotropolis plans had not been approved as well. And from my understanding and just from my digging around and research for this project, it's my understanding that that number will probably change significantly when the next census report comes out, which will be later this year, to my understanding. And it should reflect a positive correlation with the average household size. I think when we've got 200,000 people being employed within that Western Sydney International Airport and the Aerotropolis itself, they're going to want to live within a very commutable distance to that location. So I think that we'll start to see more people move to Liverpool, the outer rings of Liverpool, where they can take advantage of what's available and still be accessible to the city. So that's something to keep an eye on. In the same breath, though, it's not like it's moving substantially from a 3 to a 1.5, for example. You're still going to be looking at about an average household size of 3 people. You're looking at young professional family, a family that have one kid, for example. But it's just it's still the market audience that you would be looking for. You'd be looking for those 3 to 4 bedroom townhouses or houses within the area, and I think that's really the sweet spot. Now, the summary shows the results of the forecast for population, households and dwellings in Liverpool City Council. The period 2016 to 2026 is the short to medium term, which is likely to be the most accurate information if you're using it for planning purposes. And it's important to look at the relationship between population and household size, as we just ran over. If the average household size is falling, then we will need the growth in households to maintain or grow the population. So as you can see from this chart on the right hand side. So as this mentions on the left, if we're seeing a downward shift in the average household size, which in this instance we are with the numbers that we've been provided, we need to ensure that we're seeing growth in the number of households in the region as a whole. So as you can see by the numbers above, households, you're looking, well, this year 75,523 households, and as you can see, that is forecast to increase and grow over the next 10-15 years. So showing some very positive signs. In terms of population, currently there's about 242,000 people living within the Liverpool City Council. Change in population is forecast to increase over the next 5 to 10 years as well. It looks like there'll be some form of, you could say, correction by 2036, but as a whole, we're seeing some positive change in population there. Average annual change, you're looking at 2.73% or last year, 2.67% by 2026, 2.89% by 2031, and 2.36% by 2036. So yeah, it provides you with a good overview of what's happening. The numbers are pointing in the right direction. We're seeing population growth is heading in the right direction. Number of households is increasing, which is a fantastic sign. I think that we'll see maybe a small tweak with the average household size within the Liverpool City area as well, and average annual change is tracking in the right direction as well. Now, a quick run through of Casula. So number of dwellings in Casula is forecast to grow from 5,183 in 2016 to 5,438 in 2041, with the average household size falling from 3.25 to 3 by 2041. Very similar story to what I just mentioned with Liverpool City Council. So yeah, very similar story there. The summary shows the result of the forecast in population, households, dwellings in Casula. As we mentioned, the short term or short to medium term is 2016 to 2026, and we need to pay attention to if the average household size are going down, well, are households increasing? In this instance, once again, they are increasing, not increasing at the same levels that you saw in the Liverpool City Council graph, but they are definitely increasing in the right direction. Population is, you could say, population growth could be more than what it is representing on this chart. As I mentioned in the last slide, we are looking at numbers from March 2019. It'll be interesting to see how these tweak numbers look when we get the next updated figures. But as a whole, it still represents a very good opportunity. I think you've got to remember that with that, the numbers that we went through before, that's talking about Liverpool City Council as a whole. Casula is classified within that city council. So I think that as a whole, you're going to reap a lot of benefit off the back of the projects that are happening in the city itself and the outer rings of the city. So infrastructure projects will run over the Western Sydney airport quickly. I will not play this video today, but for anyone that is listening and wants to watch this video, this link or this presentation will be in the description below, and by all means have a listen to this video. It's a great little breakdown of what's happening at Western Sydney Airport and how it's going to be connecting or really revitalising that region of Sydney as well, and then the part it'll play on the local economy along with the Western Sydney Aerotropolis that you can see on the bottom there as well. So Western Sydney International Airport, that's due to open to passengers in 2026, not a long way away. It'll be source of future workers during the construction and operational phase of Sydney's second international airport. In conjunction with Western Sydney Aerotropolis, it will contribute towards 200,000 new jobs in the Western Parkland City and become a highly skilled jobs hub, as we mentioned, across aerospace, defence, manufacturing, healthcare, freight, logistics, agriculture, education and research industries. Western Sydney Airport is part of it is a $5.3 billion investment, so that's a fantastic boost to the local economy as well. Great to see that we're seeing some government spending on this second airport, which is really going to help put Liverpool on the map from a local perspective that little bit more as well. Now, this is the Western Sydney City Plan. So there's a number of projects that I haven't mentioned thus far, being the Aerotropolis, which is where my mouse is now, within this purple region. So that purple zone that you can see there is for the Aerotropolis and the airport. You can also see on the top that Western Sydney International Airport will create around 11,000 jobs in construction and 28,000 in its operation, in conjunction with the Aerotropolis, where you're looking at about 200,000. It's a significant number of jobs as a whole in the area. We've also got the proposed Sydney Metro Southwest extension to Liverpool, which is still being proposed. You have the Western Sydney Airport office, which is going to be based in Liverpool City Centre. So as a whole, there's a lot to look forward to there. You've also got the Sydney Metro Western Sydney Airport link that will be going into the airport, making that more connective, or better connectivity to the surrounding suburbs of Sydney. Now, there are also a number of commercial projects that are underway in Liverpool as it stands. There's a lot of office development proposed or either approved. So as you can see by all these photos in the background on the page, these are projects that are currently either underway or approved in the area. You've got the Westfield development that's been approved. That'll be a $93 million development spanning over 11 stories, consisting of 10,500 square feet of A-grade commercial space, an additional 1,952 square meters of retail, and 4,093 square meters of entertainment as well. You've got the 22 Elizabeth Street that's been approved, $180 million development spanning over 34 stories, 5,500 square meters of A-grade commercial office space, 113 hotel rooms, 179 residential apartments. So that's a substantial project as well. Liverpool Quarters, $106 million development over 23 stories, 27,000 square meters of A-grade commercial office space with retail components, food and beverage offerings, and the like. So there's some substantial investments that you can see that are happening in the area. You've also got the Liverpool Civic Place. That's a $400 million development, new council offices and chambers, new central Liverpool City Library and Community Hub, Childcare Centre, Civic Plaza and public parking. So it's great to see that they haven't stuck all their money in one project. We're seeing a number of different sector projects, you could say. We've got stuff happening in the medical field, being the redevelopment of Liverpool Hospital. They're focusing on the commercial component as well. They want to create office accommodation within the city. I think that COVID will have a offices that are based in Sydney at the moment that have been hit hard by the COVID restrictions, and you could say the working from home, that are now looking to reduce overheads in the form of rent. I think that this would serve as a fantastic opportunity for them. As I mentioned in my video earlier in the week, if you were in Sydney CBD and let's say you're paying $800, $900 a square metre for B-grade office space, you move out to you can move out to Liverpool and pay, let's say it was $600 to $700 for A-grade office space. I think it makes it's a good option for a lot of businesses that are looking to relocate. Now, I briefly ran over this, but this is the Liverpool Innovation Project. There is a link here that will take you to the government website, which talks about it in a bit more detail. But that's really trying to, you could say, it's trying to boost the health, education and research sector within Liverpool. You've got a lot of great university hubs within Liverpool as well. You've got Liverpool Hospital, which is the largest standalone hospital in Australia as well. So it's great to see that they're putting investment into New South Wales's health, $740 million redevelopment of the Liverpool Hospital as well, which was launched in which was launched 28th of October 2019. Now, the team involved with the two projects at Liverpool are a very well-known developer. They're an international developer. They got projects in the UK. There's one in Battersea at the moment, actually, in London. They've also got some projects in Sri Lanka. Laos was another location. And then, of course, Australia. They're working in projects in Queensland, in New South Wales, in Victoria, and really spreading their wings, you could say. They were founded in 2012. They've got a very strong track record. They work specifically on investment stock as well. They're looking to create the most successful investment where you can benefit from strong capital growth, lower ongoing costs, significant tax benefits, and investments to minimize risk as well. So it's a fantastic business to be working with, and they're delivering a fantastic product in Liverpool as it stands. So we can provide you with more information on them if you wish. Their website is also Australasian Property Group. If you want to have a dig around on their website, I can show you here, in fact. So this is their website here, and as you can see, there's a number of very exciting projects that they're working on as it stands around Australia. You've got London as well. So yeah, if you want to have a look, the link is on the page as well. Now, we briefly ran over the rental appraisals, but in terms of Liverpool, you're looking at about 600 to 650 for the 3-bed, 2.5 bath and 1 car townhouses. In terms of Casula, very similar prices. You're looking for the 3-bed, 2.5 bath and 2 car, you're looking at about 550 to 600, just because it's not in as central location as the Liverpool townhouses. In saying that though, it still represents a very good opportunity. We'll run through the cash flow very quickly. So property value, $749,000. In terms of your purchase costs, you're looking at about $32,000. I can't open this up now, but that's your stamp duties, your transfers, and those sort of fees there. In terms of investment, with a 10% deposit plus your purchase costs, you're looking at about $107,312. Loan amount $677,487. Equity in the property will be $71,513. We've put this in at a capital growth rate of about 5%, inflation rate 1.5%. Gross rent, we've been more on the safe side, you could say, and inserted that at $600 a week. Interest only mortgage at 3.3%, which is probably on the high end. You might be able to achieve a lower interest rate as well. And this is based off if you were earning $100,000 a year as well. You've got your depreciations of fittings, depreciation of the building as well. So as a whole, you'd be looking at generating about $151 a week for these project, or for this particular project, the Liverpool one, if you were to go with an interest only mortgage. If you want to run through this in more detail, please reach out to myself or the team. We can do up a cash flow from both an interest only perspective or a principal and interest, and go into a bit more detail about it. I'm just a bit conscious of time, so we'll get through both of these quickly. Same applies for Casula, same purchase price. You're looking stamp duties about stamp duty transfer and everything else that comes with it. You're looking at about $32,412. Total investment $107,312. Loan amount $677,486 as well. We've put in the same growth rate and the same inflation rate. In terms of gross rent, you're looking at $550 per week. Interest only 3.3%. Rental expenses 23%. And same applies. We've based it on an individual earning $100,000 a year, and you'd be looking at about $122 in your pocket with an interest-only mortgage a week for this property. Once again, let us know if you want to run through this with a P&I. I'm more than happy to do the same thing. So as a whole, your summary breakdown: property costs $749,000. Gross rent, you're looking at $30,520 for your gross rent year one. Net rent $23,431. Total costs for the property $784,799. Gross yield for year one, you're looking at 4.07%. Net yield 3.13%. Cash positive by year one. For Casula, very similar story. Your gross rent is slightly less due to the you could say the lower rental figure, $550 a week. So you're looking gross yield of 3.74%, net yield about 2.82% as well. Same applies, cash positive by year one, as we saw in the cash flow. This is a case study on a client that we worked with last year. So by settlement on the property that they had purchased, the value had increased by $11,000, which is a 17% return on their initial investment, and they shortly found a tenant paying $50 higher than the estimated rent as well. So with a lot of our figures, we're very conservative on what we pitch to you guys. I think that it's better to be on the safe side than be very ambitious and pump these rents up by $50 to $100 each a week. But as you can see, this is just one of the examples worth including. So yeah, that's a bit of a case study, the team itself, and that is that. So I hope you've got some value out of today's video. Hopefully I haven't waffled on too much. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or any of the team. We're all more than happy to have a chat with you, and we look forward to hearing from you all very, very soon. Thank you for listening, and have a fantastic weekend. Thank you.